Guys, I'm gonna give it a couple minutes here. Alright, I'm pulling out the old trailer park by the sea. Stick with me for a few minutes and then we'll get down to business. It's a nice place. This place is right on the waterway. Got a boat dock there. Oh, it's sweet. Sweet as hell. Got the big houses across the water. But you don't need a big house when you got a trailer by the sea, baby. It's all you need. Give it about another minute so I can pass the guy with a tiny, cute dog. The dog sees me. Does the guy see me? Yes, he does. The lovely creature. Good, we have one viewer now. Welcome to the show, first viewer. I don't know who you are, but welcome. We're gonna give it a couple, well, maybe another minute or so because the quality is real low, and once I drive back to the main drag, I'm sure it'll go up. So just enjoy the ride for about a minute more. Quality is increasing, so we'll give it a few more seconds. We're only about 2 miles from where I installed a ream last week, and it seems like there's another job over here too. I installed a Bryant about a year ago, and it's only about 2 miles from here as well. So this area is heavily concentrated with Talon 875 installations. Alright, let's flip around. Let's do this! Alright guys, I hope the mic is working now. I repositioned it right up high here. It seemed like it was working better if it wasn't sitting on my lapel, so I have it, you can see it in the picture. How unprofessional, the mic is hanging in the picture. Shit. Take 2. I just changed out a couple service valves, which I had been talking about for a while on a Nordyne unit. It was branded Medallion. That's just like a trailer unit that Nordyne makes. And they're all about the same. They just have the same really thin metal housing with different shapes cut in it. You have like Gibson, Air Temp, and they're all about the same. So I was changing the service valves on this Nordyne unit, and I put the Keep Rite ball valves in. Now, some people might know what I'm talking about, some people might not. When I change service valves that I'm out of warranty, I put Keep Rite ball valves in them. And, oh, trying to catch some traffic, here we go. The Keep Rite ball valves are very nice because they're rated up to 700 PSI, and they have a little Teflon ring that's in the cap. So even if it does start to leak, there's practically no way it's going to get out of that ball valve cap, which is really nice because, you know, we have those service valve caps with little O-rings in them, but the O-rings are cheap and pieces of garbage. So it's really nice. I really like it. They're easy to braze. They generally fit in the same position as the service valves. I do have to doctor it from time to time. Sometimes the metal openings on the unit isn't quite large enough. And what I'll do is I will kind of trim it up, which is what I did here for the liquid line. But they're one of those things that as I move along in the field, I've come to trust them more than the OEM models. Service valves, I see them leak all the time, and it seems like all of them leak at least a little bit. But so many times people weld these things in and torch the shit out of them, so they end up leaking heavily over time, and you'll end up trying to pump a unit down and start closing off a service valve, and refrigerant will start shooting out the top of it, and it's just a huge pain in the butt. But these keep right valves, you know, they're quarter turn ball valves, so there isn't any wrenching it down. There's shut and it's finished. So it's really nice. It's similar to what Train uses on their units, or did use. I don't know if they still use them or not. They might use them on some sizes for their suction line. They use quarter turn ball valves as well. And some other companies do that. Commercial units have ball valves on them. But I tend to use those, and that's why I told the customer, I said, you know, there's some parts that are made with most units I just think aren't as good as some of the parts you buy at the store, and those ball valves are one of them. And it seems like a small thing, but I've changed out a ton of them, it seems like. And there's other uses for them. And I was thinking about this, and a lot of us, you know, have dealt with compressors that have failed due to acid, or burned out compressors where you're afraid the system has acid in it. You have to change dryers. And I came up with a good idea. And I'm referencing a book I read a long time ago. If you have two of these ball valves, basically all you have to do is place one on either side of the dryer and leave like a section 18 inches long in the liquid line to mount your dryer in. And if you need to change a dryer 2, 3, or even 4 times because of compressor burnout, you can shut the ball valves. You can evacuate that little bit of refrigerant that's in that area, or pump it down out of that area. Take the dryer out, put a new dryer in, purge the line. You know, I'd probably end up just purging it with refrigerant, not vacuuming that area out because it's so tiny. Or you could put a vacuum on it just for like a minute or two, because it would go by in no time flat. And that's how you could really go quick to get those dryers out and get them changed. Same thing, you know, it doesn't take a whole long time to pump down a system and change a dryer, but that one right there is really quick. And even if you had some kind of, you had a dryer in a line with ball valves on either side, and you ran a line around that area. Let's say you had a ball valve, dryer, and then you had a line going around that area. And in that line, you had a ball valve as well. So when you changed the dryer, you could open that ball valve and let refrigerant flow around it, and you wouldn't even have to take the system offline to change the dryer. So it's kind of an interesting way to do things. And I remember reading the book a long time ago. And I can't remember the name of the book now. It's in my old intro. It actually burned up in our house fire. It was damaged. I can't remember if it burned up altogether or just it was damaged by the water from the firefighters. But excellent ideas. Use these ball valves to your advantage. Especially if you come back to a compressor, you know, you're gonna let it run for 48 hours and change a dryer, let it run for 48 hours and change a dryer, or even another time. And even if it's a suction filter dryer, if you're gonna change it more than once, because eventually that suction dryer is supposed to come out. It's not supposed to stay there forever. Suction dryer is supposed to come out after you treat the system. So if you want to change it a couple times, you can put those ball valves in there. Do a little U-turn here. It's really up to what you want to do, but they're really good valves. I'm not really too worried about them leaking. Even if they do leak, like I said, the caps are really good. They have the Teflon seal. But the other half of this particular call that I was on was the Microchannel. I had a Microchannel evaporator, and I was recharging the system, so I want to pay real close attention to how much refrigerant I was putting in the system when the factory charge was 10 pounds. 166 ounces. So the factory charge was 10 pounds, 6 ounces. So I knew it wasn't going to make it back up to factory charge because these Microchannel coils have so little volume. But I wanted to give it the best chance of working well in cooling and heating. And I did notice something, that the compressor muffler also says charge compensator on it. So evidently that does a little bit of charge storage whenever you're switching cycles, which I never even realized that. So very interesting. So I charged the unit up, and what I did was I went by several things. Because Microchannel is not really charged by superheat, this unit didn't have a Microchannel charging chart because the replacement coil was not the original, and the original was tube and fin. So there was going to be a few differences. So I just kind of went by target head pressure, target suction pressure. I monitored my superheat to make sure it wasn't too low, and what I ended up with was something that was within, and it was a little bit lower than target head pressure. It was around the target suction pressure. My subcooling was 10, my superheat was 10. So it looked like a pretty decent charge. The delta T on the airflow airflow temperature was 20, and that seems kind of high, but it was probably pretty close actually, since it was so dry inside the house. Now if we have a humidity of 40 to 50%, we're looking at delta T's that are in the 20, 19, 18 degree range, so not too far off. The humidity outside was lower than 50%, so it was dry outside, comfortable down at the beach, nice breeze the whole time. Temperature was about 70 degrees. My head pressure was 250 to 260 pounds. My suction pressure was around 112 because it was relatively cool inside. I believe we were right around 70 to 72 degrees. But the coil only held, and the total charge was only 8 pounds. 8 pounds, 4 ounces. At 8 pounds, 4 ounces, we are about 2 pounds less than the factory charge. What does that mean? So we had a satisfactory cooling charge with 8 pounds. And of course, our heating charge is going to be less too. In fact, I took a little bit out over the last winter season because the head pressure was running too high. It was running around 500. And in heating, you can have high head pressures at high indoor temperatures, but 500 was a little bit beyond where it should have been. I got it down to around the 420 to 440 range, which was more like where it should have been. So it'll be interesting to see what it does in heating. I'm thinking it will be fine. I'm thinking taking this special precaution, considering it's microchannel, taking a charge in extra slow, extra easy. Not to say that I was in haste the first time, but I went extra slow and extra deliberate this time to make sure I didn't put in a single ounce more than I had to make sure that heating charge was not overcharged and exacerbated in that microchannel evaporator, which would have, it would have been hectic, because just look at 2 pounds less and you're squared away on charge. That's a big difference. That's 20% of the charge, the factory charge, gone. So, but I put that on my repair tag, that was the new charge level. If someone reads the repair tag, hopefully it's me. I pulled a good vacuum, pulled the vacuum down. It took a long time because we're pulling a vacuum on the whole system. I just replaced the gaskets, the 3/8 and the 1/4 inch gaskets in my hoses because they were a little shredded, so they did much better. And my vacuum stayed below 1,000 once it was valved off for a few minutes, so I was very happy with that. So no leaks, the charge looks squared away, so they should be happy. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. I have one call I might do tomorrow. I might do it Friday. It was so hectic when I was doing the apartment maintenances the first 2 days of this week, and when I went through the maintenances, which you guys might see in an upcoming video, I have to do maintenances, abbreviated maintenances on all, there's like 50 of them or something. So it's a great account to have because they're all, or 80% of them are 20-year-old train units. So it's a great account to have. But the maintenances can be a little bit monotonous. And 2 systems were broke, and like 6 of them of the first 20 or so is what I did, or 20 to 25. I think like 6 or 7 of them needed refrigerant. Not a whole lot. The most any one of them needed was 1.5 pounds, but it was R22. So the price of my R22, I warned them, is going up. I was previously charging $50 a pound for R22, but I don't know whether or not I'm gonna end up going to 65 or 75. The R22 I got at United was not outrageously priced, but they have gone up quite a bit since the last time. And places, other places I've gone to was another $100 higher than the United. So I don't know what the difference is. I think Ralph told me that it's all in when they bought it. So, but there's a pretty big difference. It was $106 difference before tax between United and East Coast metal distributors. So big difference. Big difference. It's huge difference. That's about it, guys. My Verizon bill was way too high, so I might go over to US Cellular. That might affect my Wi-Fi, or not my Wi-Fi, but my live streaming. I'm not sure. 4G pretty much everywhere I go now, so I had to see if US Cellular buys out your contract. But I don't know if they're going to buy out a 5-line business contract or not, because It's running, my business contract is running over $400 a month, and that was not how it was represented to me, so I'm a little perturbed. I thought the first time it came in a little high was because of a data overage, but I changed the plan, and it still tends to be too high, and I haven't even used half my data, I don't think. So when I do live streaming, I don't do it in HD, I do it in 480, so it's a little bit less strenuous on the data plan, but which is good because I've talked for like 16 damn minutes today. But that's about it for today. Everybody be safe. I will see you again maybe in the morning. I do have one call I should do tomorrow, but I don't know because it's not pressing. It's for a real estate agent. They still haven't paid me for the last call, so maybe I'll wait, but we'll see. You guys have a good day, and I will see you on the next one. This broadcast was brought to you by Donald Trump. It's huge! Making America great again. Donald Trump.